Greetings all, I am Dr. Jennie Harrop, Associate Dean of George Fox Digital and an English professor for, oh my goodness, a little more than 30 years. My first career was in journalism, and that was a career of firsts, a little bit like this course, first year seminar. My very first full-time position was for what was called, and is still called, the Port Townsend Leader up in Port Townsend, Washington. And I went up there for a summer way back, this was in the 1980s and 1990s when journalism was a whole different career than it is today. And I was handed so many firsts that I can't even tell you. It was utterly overwhelming. I was first asked to take my yellow pad and stop writing my stories handwritten on there first and then typing them, but learn to compose on a computer. That was one of the more difficult transitions that I've ever made, and I'm wondering if some of you may have had to make that transition in your life. After I earned my bachelor's degree, I moved from Washington to Chicago, and I had the pleasure of working for City News Bureau, which was a wire service and a training ground for journalists nationwide. And I also got to work for the Chicago News Tribune, which was amazing, such a privilege. The firsts did not slow down, they actually intensified. So one of my biggest firsts was right at the beginning when I was working for the wire service. I was assigned to cover the governor of the state of Illinois, who was just speaking incidentally somewhere downtown Chicago. So my editor asked me to run down there and cover what he was saying. I had my notebook, I knew how to take notes, I did. And all these other journalists surrounding me knew that I was the new kid on the block, turned to me as the governor was finishing and said, "And do you, new person, have any questions for the governor?" I didn't even know who the governor was. It was horrifying. I said something like, "Oh, not at this time, but I might tomorrow." A world of firsts. Probably the most intimidating one that turned out to be one of my best experiences was called Death Watch. Journalists are always assigned to cover when the President of the United States is either landing or taking off in Air Force One. It is called Death Watch, sounds really gruesome, in case something happens. You need to have a journalist who's on deck and able to cover it. And I'll tell you, the complexity of feelings for a journalist is bizarre because you don't want anything to happen to another human being, but there's this tiny bit of yourself that kind of does, because you might be the person who's there to cover it. But I was young, I really didn't want anything to happen. This will tell you when this occurred. This was George Bush, who was getting off of Air Force One. It was pouring rain. I was standing there with two other people, soaking wet, with my notebook, waiting for him to come forward to see if he had anything to say. And it turned into a delightful first because he came over with an umbrella, covered us, and stood with us for a good 20 to 30 minutes, asking if we had any questions about anything whatsoever. Friends, firsts are intimidating, but if you will step into them, they can be one of the biggest blessings. For those of you who are returning to college, or for those of you for whom this is a first, I want to encourage you. Encourage you to step in knowing that you may not know what you don't know. Remember to ask questions. Remember to not be shy about turning to your peers, turning to your professors, asking me, asking others whom you will meet through this course. We are all here to help you. And the more that you're able to step into those firsts, the more confidence you will have in your workplace, in your communities, in your family. This is a degree that is built on transformation, not just the transaction of earning a degree. So friends, don't be afraid to step in fully. We are there to help along the way.